Hi, and welcome to This Is My Architecture. My name is Peter, and I'm joined by Michael from Scout24. Michael, nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So Michael, tell us what you guys are doing.
So Scout24 connects people, cars, and homes. Our two main products are Auto Scout24, where you can find your next car, and Immobilien Scout, where you can look for real estate properties.
Sounds awesome. So you have a number of product teams that are building and deploying tons of microservices. And you came up with a solution to reduce configuration and cluster management effort, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we have built Infinity, which is the name of our managed container orchestration platform. As we see here, we have multiple AWS accounts. We have more than 100 accounts. In this picture, we see one exemplary product account and the central platform account.
Okay, sounds good. So let's go right into it.
Yeah, so it all starts with a user deploying a CloudFormation template. This CloudFormation will then communicate back to a custom resource in our central platform account. And this custom resource is powered by our function called Angus.
Interesting. So what does Angus do? What's the stack?
So Angus basically takes in the information from this CloudFormation stack and triggers the deployment of a larger CloudFormation template and enriches this with the parameters from here.
Interesting.
So in the next step, it deploys that CloudFormation to ECS, which gets our service running in this central cluster that we manage.
All right, what happens next? What's the next step?
So on each container instance in this ECS cluster, we have our cross-account proxy running. Mm-hmm. Since we are having different accounts, but we still want the application to see all the AWS resources in the product account, we need some way to retrieve the IAM credentials from this account and get it to the container here. Mm-hmm. So that's where the cross-account proxy comes in. So it basically intercepts calls to the metadata service, where normally the container would get a role in this account, but since we intercept it, we can actually forward it here and retrieve the IAM credentials from here and get it back.
Wow, this is really interesting. So this cross-account proxy allows you guys to connect both sides with each other, right?
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. Well, I can see VPC peering here. Obviously, you have services placed in those product accounts, and you have the ECS containers that want to talk. So is VPC peering the way to talk with each other?
Yeah, exactly. So with this cross-account proxy, we solve the issue of reaching AWS services in the product account, but there are also other services such as RDS databases that you have to reach via network. That's where VPC peering comes in.
Okay, this is amazing. Now, one thing that comes into my mind is what happens if your product teams that have access to these services want to see containers on that side? Are they able to see them?
To be able to really see them, they would have to log into the platform account, but we actually focus on metrics and monitoring. So we create standardized dashboards for each service, and we also have alarming in place out of the box, so that developers don't have to worry about that.
All right, so that means there's actually no real need for developers to get into this account and to view things, right?
For sure.
Okay, this is really cool. How about if someone makes changes on that side, he pushes and basically triggers the entire deployment and modification. What about if things fail? Is there anything that you guys are doing?
Yeah, so that's where our ECS watchdog comes in, which is another Lambda function, also written in Python. So this will continually monitor ECS events and search for deployment failures and report that back to our Angus function and then to the original CloudFormation stack.
Got it, which would roll back things and get them back to status.
So it would roll back to the last stable.
Okay, this is great. So this is just an amazing solution, but how about scaling? What's the amount of accounts that you have connected with this platform account?
So we have more than 100 AWS accounts, and right now on the cluster we run 190 services with about 400 containers on 25 instances.
Awesome size. Michael, one last thing. Looking into the future, what is the thoughts that you guys have in terms of improving that whole thing?
So right now we're working on a new feature which we call categories, where we basically want to provide predefined bundles for the developers for services that have different needs in terms of scaling, in terms of CPU, and offer it to them so that they don't have to worry about the underlying details.
Understood. So your teams will be able to define a bit more precise what they need, and that definition would be able to be placed right here on that platform side. This is a great solution. Michael, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching This Is My Architecture.